Killer Smog, Story 206, Part 2. The air was so thick that Russell Davis, who always drove the town's fire truck, was afraid to take it out of the firehouse. The men walked to the houses, where more and more people needed oxygen. As the night continued, some of the 8 doctors in town were forced to crawl on their hands and knees. The fog was so thick. These were men who knew the town like the back of their hands. Bubba barked that he was getting thirsty, and speaking of whiskey, he wouldn't mind a drink, no ice. Bubba has found that ice in his drink makes him ask what you call footwear made out of bananas. Slippers. He got his drink, took a few sips, and resumed his story. On Saturday, October 30th, the Monongahela Wildcats crushed the Donora Dragons 27-7. Fans in the stands could hardly see the players on the field. Unknown to the people, or to the fans, people were already starting to die. U.S. Steel's Zinc Works and American Steel and Wire Company continued to pour dark smoke from their smokestacks. The company began assisting town officials and doctors as oxygen tents were set up. As the day continued, police urged the elderly and those with breathing problems to leave town. For many, this was impossible, or too late. By Sunday morning, almost 20 were dead, 500 needed to be hospitalized, and as many as 4,000 were sickened by the air. Pets were dying, and some said even their houseplants were wilting. Included in the dead was Stan Musial's father, Lucas. Undertakers trying to remove bodies from homes could not see. They were forced to have someone walking in front of their vehicles with a flashlight. When local funeral homes filled up, the basement of the Donora Hotel was used as a makeshift morgue. Doctors from all over the Mon Valley began rushing to Donora to assist, as area hospitals sent as many oxygen tanks as possible. When nearby Charleroi-Monessen Hospital filled up, many of those unable to breathe were put in cars and driven to Pittsburgh hospitals. Finally, that morning, U.S. Steel shut down the Zinc Works and American Steel and Wire. On Sunday night, heavy rain struck Donora, washing the smog away and probably saving the lives of at least 1,000 people. Bubba barked that a near-perfect storm hit Donora that final week of October 1948, causing the disaster. Meteorologists later determined that the air inversion covering Pennsylvania, New York, West Virginia, Ohio, and Michigan was one of the largest and longest of the 20th century. Donora was located on a horseshoe bend on the Mon River, with cliffs rising 400 feet on each side, trapping the air in the valley. Most of the town's homes were heated by coal furnaces. There were coke ovens constantly burning just outside the town, and the biggest culprit was the 2 U.S. steel plants operating in Donora. Although the citizens of Donora knew that the smoke coming from their stacks was noxious, killing all plant life and shortening the lives of the people working in them, the mills employed the majority of those living in the city. Just 1 month before the disaster, U.S. Steel rejected plans to reduce the smoke from its factories, claiming it simply wasn't cost-effective. When investigators arrived in Donora to look into the deadly smog, many were driven out of town by gunpoint. United States Steel would settle some lawsuits out of court for 5% of the requested amount. They always claimed the disaster was an act of God. Bubba finished his story and barked that he would be right back. He soon returned with a box of cigars and asked me to get rid of them. barking that he didn't want to inhale any more poisoned air. I hope this finds you safe, healthy, and sane, and please beware of wiener dogs asking you what the judge said when a skunk walked into the courtroom. Odor in the court.